2-0 in the Netherlands. Not a strong performance from the Arsenal today. But bottom line, we still have something to play for next week against Zurich. We could not get a pseudo bye week, if you will. So little disappointed. Let's talk about it straight after this. This is Arsenal Aftermath. How is it, everyone? The Bearded Gooner here. This is Arsenal Aftermath, and I am flying solo today. Not a great performance. Bottom line, when you try to play two styles at the same time, or when you have two goals that you're trying to achieve at the same time in the span of a match, sometimes it doesn't always work out the way that you want it to work out. For Mikel Arteta and Arsenal today, I don't think it worked out the way that he was hoping. I think that he lined us up to play for the draw, but play for the draw through protect yourself against injury. Don't exert too much energy. Let's try to maintain some fitness levels, if you will. And you can't with some of the players that were in there. And this is why we wanted to see rotation. This is why we wanted to see the likes of a Marquinhos in there, why we wanted to see the likes of a Reece Nelson. At least I did. I shouldn't say we, I say I. Marquinhos, Reece Nelson, Eddie, that's fine. Rob Holding, that's fine. Sammy Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, that rotation is fine. But the message has to be a little different. The message has to be either it has to be in this situation one or the other. It's either go for the gusto, go for the win, or play it a little safer. Play a low block maybe. Let's just exchange some body punches back and forth with PSV. And we didn't do that. For the first 20, 25 minutes, I thought we were well in the game. I thought we were on the front foot. We were doing what I wanted to see us do. And maybe the game plan was to dominate possession, because we certainly did that. 70% possession for us, you do the math on what PSV had. But it doesn't lend itself to a winning recipe. And when we started to get opened up, they really took advantage. This game by rights probably – they had 3 goals waved off. And I will say that they very well could have been 4 or 5-0. We did not look like we were going to score at all in this game. And we are back to the days of we're not even looking threatening. We can dominate the possession. We can get the ball into the final third, and we can move it around, but we can't get the ball into the 18-yard box and then create from there. We're not good enough to fire shots from 20 yards away. We're just not. And really, let's face it, what is that? It's a Hail Mary, right? So playing reserved, let's dominate the possession, but let's not really go for anything. Let's try to protect ourselves on the counter, which we couldn't even do that because we're getting caught flat-footed. In possession, we give away possession, we get caught flat-footed. And then we're susceptible on the counter and we can't catch up. If you caught me an hour or so ago, I was on Highbury Squad with soccer diva herself, Sophie Nicolau. We did player ratings there. I'm not going to do player ratings here on this show. If you guys caught me there, you know what I had to say about it. Emilio HQ, Eddie and Sammy would complain about a lack of game time. Then you get games like tonight, and they wonder why they warm the bench. Well, this is what I'll say. And I didn't get a chance to go into it on Highbury Squad, but I have a chance now to go into this. I'm big on partnerships, okay, and in certain in this sport, okay, I am big on center back partnerships. The partnership of Gabriel and William Saliba, that works. That's a good partnership. Holding doesn't have that partner. I would like to see a way for us to get him a center back partner so that we had a pairing there that in games like this, we could just say pairing A, you're done. Pairing B, you're in. And there you develop a chemistry there. You become comfortable with that partner. And in the midfield, this is my biggest problem with the midfield, is that Sambi is being asked to play a role that I don't think he fully understands what's being asked of him. He's not a Thomas Partey. He is not that. He's just not that player right now. Can he be? Who knows? Maybe. He's only 21. But right now, he's not that player. And the partnership of Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey is probably our most important partnership on the pitch right now when we think about it. Sambi doesn't have that. Sambi doesn't have a chemistry with anyone on this team, let alone in the midfield when he plays. He's playing with Granit Xhaka, or he's playing with Fabio Vieira, or he's playing with Martin Odegaard. I mean, Granit Xhaka, barring suspension, which he is now for next Thursday, will play just about every game. Arnie, we should have played our under-21s today. I would disagree with Arnie, because I think we needed to play some of the regulars today in the hopes that they would carry us through to at least a draw, so that next Thursday against Zurich, we could have played the under-21s. Whatever players are on the fringe that are registered for Europe, and I don't even know who all of those players are. But back to Sambi Lokonga for a minute. He needs a midfield partnership with someone. He needs to play with the same person, but he needs consistent playing time with that person. He's not getting it with Granit Xhaka because he's not getting into league games for a significant amount of time where he can develop that partnership with Xhaka, and Xhaka can develop that trust in Sambi Lokonga that he has with Thomas Partey, because that, I think, is the biggest problem with Sambi Lokonga and Granit Xhaka playing in the midfield. There's no trust on Granit Xhaka's end, and Sambi doesn't understand his role. So that's a recipe for disaster in the midfield, and we've gotten overrun in the midfield today because of it. Martin Odegaard, invisible today. And I will say that could be down to a couple of different things. But overall, like Arnie said, we were just poor today, and we were poor. And I think as well, teams are starting to figure us out. Teams are starting to figure out that there are two ways really to beat us. The name of the game is to put us under pressure somehow. That's a recipe for turning us over and opening us up at the back. Put us under pressure. Do what Leeds did 2 weeks ago. Play a high line. Press the ball. Or you can do what Southampton did. You can do what PSV did to a degree today. And you can play a very low block and just say, okay, we've got 8 guys within 20 yards of net, within 20 yards of goal. Break us down. Break us down. And there's absolutely no chance right now that we're going to do that. We just don't look like a team that has that creative. Not creative. We're creative, but creative is not the right word. We don't have that incisive pass right now that we need, and we're not moving. We're not getting into the little channels. We're not getting into space. And I've said before, if you've watched me on any show at any point, you'll know that my thing is time and space. If you have one, you have the other. And that's an attack. You need to create that. You need to create your own time and space. And we're not doing that. We're waiting for someone on the ball to make a move. Get me the ball and then I'll make the move. But get me the ball. But I'm not going to move into the space where you can get me the ball. So we're back to this, and we've been dealing with this now for 2-3 years where there's no movement. And it's like we're waiting for someone else to do the work for us. Each individual, we're playing as a group of 10 individuals, not a group of not a team. And when we're winning, when we're playing well, when we're scoring goals, we're moving. We're doing all of those things. We're getting into space. We're getting into the tight channels. We're creating on our own. We're just not doing that now. And it's lack of movement. And I don't know why. I have no explanation as to why. I've thought about the fatigue factor, but we're in October. We've been playing for less than 3 months. We've played, it's our 5th. We've played 18 matches in maybe not quite 12 weeks. So, but we're not averaging 2 matches a week at this point. So why are we fatigued? We really shouldn't be that fatigued right now. So it's disappointing all the way around, really. I don't know what the recipe is to fix it. Hopefully a little home cooking will get us back to feeling ourselves again, being back at the Emirates in front of our home crowd against Forest on Sunday. And hopefully we get something going there. We're better than them. We should beat them. And I think that, from a Forest standpoint, they probably expended a lot of energy and effort in beating Liverpool last Sunday, but they're going to be riding high after that. They beat Liverpool. They're going to come here and they're going to think they can get a result, especially the way we've been playing. So this game is disappointing against PSV because it would have seen us through to the round of 16, new format as of last year for the Europa League. So we avoid the round of 32 if we win the group. And a result today, draw being the worst of it, would have seen us go directly into the round of 16, getting that round of 32 off, having a week where in February or 2 weeks rather, where we, okay, there's maybe a little bit of a built-in rest there because we'll have the FA Cup, we'll have the League Cup, as well as Europa League and the Premier League. But and maybe, let's look at it this way. Maybe this is something else to consider. We're playing a Zurich team who is bottom of the table, dead last in the Swiss league, not playing well. We're at home, should be able to get a result against those guys pretty much regardless of who we play. Hopefully. So maybe Arteta was looking at this as let's go out and try. We're going to start, we're going to go half and half with starters and reserves. Let's see if we can do something. But if not, we should be able to wrap up business at home next week. It just would have been nice to be able to give certain guys a rest and play, some younger players, the U21s with no fear of whatever the result might be, basically just a dead rubber. So the result today is disappointing, to say the least. But I think it's more of the way that we played that is disappointing. PSV are a good team. They're a good side. I mean, they have some talent there. Cody Gakpo, everybody knows about Cody Gakpo. And that kid he's going to be a stud somewhere bigger than PSV, and he will be that in short order. But they are a good side, but we are better than what we showed today. And that is what is disappointing about today. It's not so the result, yes, is disappointing. Don't misunderstand me, but it's the manner in which the result was achieved. It's not even a lack of effort. It's a lack of concentration. It's a lack of intensity. It's a lack of paying attention to detail. Things of that nature. That's what disappoints me the most in today's result. So overall, it's all to play for on a week from tonight against Zurich at home. So we get 2 games at home in a row with Nottingham Forest on Sunday, and then we go against Zurich on Thursday. We should get the result there, win the league. But again, it would have been nice. Some of these guys get a rest before going into Chelsea in 2 weeks, or a week and a half, I should say. But Stan the Man in the house. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being here. Hope you're well, my friend. Just talking about the result today, or lack thereof, and disappointing. And as I just said, I think disappointing in the effort, disappointed in the style of play, if you will. James Johnstone joining us. Evening, shocking game that I could take losing, but not like that. It's exactly what I just said. No drive, no passion, no effort until Gabriel Jesus came on. Guy who plays 16 minutes is your man of the match. It is a mess. Interesting words there from James Johnstone. I would not go as far to say that Gabriel Jesus would have been my Arsenal man of the match. But he certainly brought an energy level that we were missing. That is for sure. I can take the losing. I can take when we I apologize, Gabriel. Yeah. But either way, there was an energy from both, but I apologize to Gabriel, the defender. Yes. And when he came on, it was almost, it was a little too late. But you just kind of wish that mentality had been there from the beginning. And even Ben White, I'll say, brought something in when he came on. But, how much are either of those two really going to affect the game or the outcome at that point? But like James said, it's the manner in which we lost. We're going to lose. That's a part of sport. You're going to lose. It's the manner in which you lose. And when you get your doors blown off and you feel like the effort wasn't there, that's the disappointing side of things. That's when you walk away scratching your head. If we would have put more effort in, if we would have been more intense, if we would have paid attention to detail, if we would have made smarter decisions, who knows what the outcome could be. Only caught a bit of the first half. Stan the Man, due to work. Sounds like it wasn't a good day at the office, Stan. It was not. If you're thinking about watching the replay, don't. Just don't. 25 minutes. The first 25 minutes were good. I thought we were well in the game. We were dominating. We dominated the possession. I shouldn't say we were dominating. We dominated the possession. First 20 to 25 minutes, we didn't look threatening, but we didn't allow them to look threatening either. We were dominating the possession in such a way that they were not really threatening us very much. And then they started to grow into the game, had a goal disallowed due to an offside, had 3 goals disallowed due to offside. But they grew into the game as the first half wore on, and then in the second half they came out, they turned it on, and off they went, and the rest is history. So I'm curious as to who, if you could name James Johnstone. I'll take a page out of his book. If you have a man of the match for Arsenal, who would it have been? Stan, Eddie. Eddie is a guy that last year was I don't know if he just caught lightning in a bottle. I'm starting to think that he did. He was non-existent. He was just non-existent. He's a poacher, if ever there was one. He's not a guy that's going to create on his own. He's not a guy that's going to break you down 1v1. He basically needs some chaos in the box around him and have the ball fall to his foot where he can tap it in. And that's how he's going to score his goals. And we don't do enough of that. We do not create enough chaos in the box for Eddie to be a threatening striker, a threatening number 9. And like I say, he's not going to create on his own. If we're going to play Eddie and Jesus together, I'd rather Jesus play out wide than Eddie, because Eddie's not a creator. Eddie's a poacher, period. That's it. That's what he is. And today he was not on the pace. Gabriel Martinelli even was off the pace a little bit. The effort was there from him. I think we know we're always going to get that from Gabriel Martinelli. Fabio Vieira, he and Martin Odegaard seem to interchange on the right and in that pseudo number 10 position, but Fabio Vieira just irresponsible with the football. Wasn't really no one really looked threatening for us today. I would not say that there was anyone who instilled fear in PSV today. They really, that low block kept us at an arm's length. We had, I think, 18 shots. Only 3 of them, though, I think were on net. We had 18 shot attempts, I should say. Only 3 on goal. So, that's when and when your attack is a bit predicated on perfection, you're going to have days like this. And I think something that we need to work on is Mikel Arteta needs to work on this is when the possession-based football is not working, and it has not worked for 4 really matches now. I mean, the last match that we really looked good was Liverpool. We did not look good in Norway. You could blame the artificial turf for that. The ball just bouncing all over the place. But then the Leeds game did not look good there. Did not look good against Southampton. Did not look overly dominant against PSV a week ago, or I should say overly threatening against PSV a week ago. And then the same thing today. We dominated today, but we couldn't score. So how do you fix that? Well, maybe what we do is we sit back in the low block now. And it's going to go in the face of everything that Mikel Arteta wants to do. But you have to have a different way of attacking a team who has stymied what it is you want to do. And I think we've seen this now in the last 4 matches with, I'm going to take the Norway match out of the equation. I don't think we played well there, but you can put a fair amount of that down, I think, to I think you can put a fair amount of that down to the artificial turf, the pitch. That's just not good. Gary, welcome in. Yeah, not well. That's what we're talking about here. So stay tuned. You'll hear how it went. But in the last 4 matches, 2 against PSV, 1 against Leeds, 1 against Southampton, we're getting stymied by the low block. And we don't know how to break it down. And we're back now to this horseshoe of despair where the ball is just going around the outside. It's just going around the perimeter. Maybe it makes its way into the middle only to get sent right back out to the perimeter again. And we're putting in a cross and a prayer that someone can get ahead to the ball. And Eddie, I believe Eddie is taller than Gabriel Jesus, and he is not that tall. So when we're putting in high crosses and hoping that someone can get ahead to the ball, it's a Hail Mary. It's a cross and a prayer, and neither of which are being answered. So we have to figure out a different way to score. So if the possession-based horseshoe of despair, try to break down the low block, get someone into a tight channel, isn't working, what's next on the agenda? How do we do this? Make an adjustment at halftime instead of saying, if we just keep at our system, it's going to work. It's not. It's not. And when teams have figured you out, this is where you need to adjust. Now, Mikel Arteta, adjust. Make some adjustments. Do something different. If you come out against Forest and they want to play the low block, you've got to change it up. You have to do something different. I'm not saying change personnel, because I think we have the personnel to alter our system. They're intelligent enough and talented enough to do something different within the game. It's down to Mikel Arteta to come up with, what do we do? How do we change it up within the game? Instead of, staying horseshoe of despair. I'm fairly certain Ryan penned that term last year or 2 years ago at some point. But you get the point where you're just passing the ball around the perimeter with really no no what's the word I'm looking at? No intent. You're just kicking the can down the road, Excuse me. But that's what the low block does. Southampton just 8 guys within 20 yards of goal. What do you do? What do you do? So maybe you sit back. Maybe you sit back. Maybe you play the low block yourself. And today, I probably would have been inclined to do that. Sit back, play the low block. Let's just defend. Let's just defend today. We don't need to score. We just have to stop them from doing it. We keep them from scoring. We go through. Let's just sit back in the low block. It's going to be boring to watch. But winning is fun. I would rather win a boring match than lose an entertaining one. Now, I'll walk away saying it was entertaining, but we lost. And at the end of the day, you don't get style points. You get 3 points for a win. Doesn't matter how that win came. You get 3 points for a win, and you get 1 point for the draw, and it doesn't matter how the draw comes. If it's a 0-0 draw or if it's a 5-5 draw, you still get 1 point. So, and that 1 point today would have seen us through to the round of 16. Next Thursday's game would have been a dead rubber. And we can rest some guys going into the Chelsea match. I don't want to look too far ahead. I'm always the guy that is saying, what is the most important game? When you look at the fixture list and you say, what is the most important game? The answer is the next one. The next game is always the most important game. But we can look down the road a little bit here. It's okay to do, and everybody does it. And we have Chelsea in a week and a half. And it's a big game. And I'm not saying it's a big game because it's Chelsea. I'm saying it's a big game because of positioning in the table and what we're trying to achieve this year. And it's a big test. So we want everybody at full strength, at full health, to go to Stamford Bridge and try to get a result. And we have opportunities here to get some guys some rest, get their fitness levels back up, and go into Chelsea. But now we have a job to do. It's Gary, I'm going to come back to this in a minute here. I want to go to your next comment. If we draw on PSV win, we lose on goal difference. Yeah. So we need to win now on Thursday, and I think we will, but we now need to win Thursday, and we need to play some of the guys that I would have liked to see get a rest, get a full week's worth of rest before Chelsea. They're going to have to play now. So, yeah, we draw, they win. We go to second on goal differential, and we have to play that what UEFA are calling the playoff game, if you will, to get into the round of 16. So, yeah, it's you can afford to look ahead, but you don't want to look, but you don't want to look solely at the Chelsea game saying, what am I doing for that game and how does today affect it? We don't need to play our starters to finish second, but we do get first, to get first in the group. Yeah. I some of these guys are going to need to play. I would, if I were Arteta, I would probably, if I look ahead quickly to next Thursday against Zurich, I would probably play most of the reserves to start. And if the job isn't getting done, I'd make some changes at halftime. But I would start with the reserves. I don't think Zurich are good enough to hold our feet to the fire for the first 45 minutes against our reserves, to the point where we're now chasing the game in the second half. Get to halftime at 0-0 if in a worst case scenario, and then we can make some changes at halftime if need be. Speaking of making changes, Arteta looked at the 2 goals called back for offside, went into halftime and changed nothing. Why Super Arteta? Why? Again, I think there is a bit of, I don't want to call it stubbornness, but maybe that's the best term for it, where he has his style. And as successful as we've been this year, there's a stubbornness maybe to say the style works. What we've done thus far has worked. And if they play the right way, it will work. Well, the other team gets paid to play too. And if they can play their style good enough to counter what we're trying to do, we're at a stalemate. That's where we were for 25 minutes. And then our intensity level just started to drop, right? And they grew into the game, and we get the result. Excuse me, that we got today. Sophie from Highbury Squad in the house. Hey, it was my pleasure. So thank you very much. Always good to hang. Always good to hang. Appreciate it. Look forward to doing it again soon. Thanks for checking in with us over here. So not much more on this to say. I'm a half hour in. I think I've said enough. This is disappointing. Disappointing in the way that we lost. We're a better team than them, and we didn't show it today. We didn't play like it. So I think what this does is show that when we need to play with the same intensity, game in, game out. That intensity needs to be there. So, we need to come with a better effort on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. I think being at home will boost us up. We've not played a big time league game at home in a couple of weeks. We were away to Leeds. We were away to Southampton. We played PSV at home last week, but it's Europa League. The intensity, even in the crowd, can drop down. I've seen that. I've been there for that. So we come on Sunday. It's a mid-afternoon kickoff over there. Mid-afternoon kickoff, 10 a.m. Here on the East Coast. Stan, if you're still with me, it's a 7 a.m. kickoff for you, brother. So put a pot of coffee on the night before. But so likewise for you as well. But yeah, ratchet up the intensity and do what we do. We're best when we're in motion. We're best when we're moving. And I said this on Highbury Squad not long ago. When we're standing around and we're stagnant, we're boring. And we don't really accomplish much. And that's true of any team in any sport, really. When you're moving, you're better when you're moving. A moving object, an object in motion stays in motion. This is the problem with getting caught on the counter. Okay, is we're stagnant, and now we have to all of a sudden ratchet up the intensity in the blink of an eye to protect against the counter, and it's hard to do. We need to stay in motion. We need to keep moving. We need to be moving into pockets of space and out of pockets of space and dragging defenders here and creating an open space over there. We need to switch the field of play, here and there when it's appropriate. We need to make better passes. Our touches need to be better. We need to amp up the intensity level. We need to amp up the smartness. We need to amp up the attention to detail. On Sunday against Forest. And look, and Forest they are going to present a problem. This is not going to be a game that we just roll through. Okay. We will not roll through them if we don't put the intensity in, if we don't put the effort in. Okay. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's where we are right now. We're not working hard, and our talent isn't enough to take us through to win these games. So on Sunday, I fully expect to work hard, ratchet up the intensity level, and let's go get a result. Because we need to see good things happen now. That's the other thing too. When the ball is going in the net, everything feels better. And I think once we see the ball go into the net, things will change, especially if it's a good buildup and it's a pretty goal. It's a nice goal to watch. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good seeing that ball go in the net. That's what we need. We need to see that, and we need to see it in bunches. So come Sunday, ratchet up the intensity level. It's time to go to work. It's not all lost. It's not all doom and gloom. It's only the second loss of the campaign in all competitions this year. But there are some worrying signs. So now we say, okay, who is Mikel Arteta now? Form is slipping a little bit. How does he coach these guys back up? Right? How does he coach these guys back up to get us into a winning position on Sunday against Forest at home? And that's it. That's what we have to play for. So let's hope that Gabriel Jesus and William Saliba don't get yellow cards in this game because they are going to play, and I would believe they would play all 90 minutes. Gary's got something here. Ref in women's match must be related to our ref versus Southampton. When women are clinical is the difference. 3-1 Arsenal women should be 6-0, and Zerk should be playing 9 players. Fair. Yeah, we could talk about the refs. That's an entirely different show, and one that I am considering doing here in the near future. So, but that is all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I know it's a short show, only about 35 minutes, but hey, I'm on my own and I've done a lot of talking. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you very much, Gary, Soph, Stan, BX Gunner, James Johnstone was in there, Arnie, Emilio. Appreciate it all. You guys be sure to drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Ask a friend to subscribe to the channel for me as well, even if they're not an Arsenal fan. The subscriptions would greatly help, and we would be most appreciative. Take care, everyone. I would be remiss if I did not mention the incident in Milan with Pablo Mari. Please spare a good thought for all victims involved in this horrible incident in Milan, a stabbing, and it was rumored that someone has lost their life. So please keep a good thought for all involved, obviously with the exception of the attacker. But please keep a good thought for all of the victims of that attack over there. Thank you all very much. That is all I have for you. Stay tuned. Pay attention to the channel. Turn the little bell on so you get notifications whenever there's a new show. Ryan and I will be back on Sunday with the Sunday. Well, we'll be back with Arsenal Aftermath after the Forest match, and then we will do the Sunday Gunner will be Sunday evening. We'll have the Premier League recap, of the weekend's action. Sunday Gunner, Sunday 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. if you are across the pond, 3 p.m. if you're on the West Coast, like Stan and Sophie are. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Drop a like, drop a subscription, ring the bell. Off we go. Have a good one. See you out there.